Imagine it's the end of 2025 and everything went according to plan. Your creative year was the best it's ever been. You've enjoyed outstanding success and you decide to take a look back over what's happened. What would you be saying? What if you could predict and create your most successful creative year ever? Well, this kind of back to the future thought process is exactly how you can guarantee having your best creative year ever, which is what we're going to preview with you in this episode of the God and Geek Show. Give me just a moment to welcome our newest listeners, and then we'll get right into this super important conversation. Hello and welcome to our show. Thank you so much for making this podcast a part of your creative day. And if you are new to the show, thank you. You've come to the right place at the right time. As a creative freelancer or artist with high character and deep convictions who's serious about moving from part-time hustle to full-time creative lifestyle, whatever that means for you, and you're ready to enjoy your best creative year ever, you're in the right place at the right time. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the host and founder of God and Gigs, and I hope you'll follow us, stay connected with us, and subscribe so that we can continue to help you to become the creative that you were created to be. And if you want to enjoy your best year ever, you're going to have to begin with the end in mind, starting from that ending vision and then walking backwards to see how you can get to that desired goal that you want to see in 2025. You see, the problem is, unfortunately, most of us start with our goals and resolutions, and that doesn't last very long. As a matter of fact, most studies say around February, 80% of us have given up on those New Year's resolutions. And it's because we're discouraged by how far away those dreams seem to be. But if you can futurecast yourself to a specific date, it no longer seems so far away. You can train your brain to understand that if you pinpoint a date that is not just someday, but it is a day, you can actually reach those goals and make sure that you are tuned in to what you need to do to achieve them. So in this episode, we're going to actually futurecast. We're going to think and say out loud what we're going to be feeling and thinking in December 2025. By the way, the 12 themes that we're going to be highlighting in this particular episode are the 12 themes we're going to be talking about all the way through 2025. We're already doing LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube live streams through January 6th as I'm recording. And we're going to be using these 12 themes in our 360 Gold membership and mastermind. So you can actually walk through this with us if you want by joining the membership. And we'll talk about that a little later in this episode. But first, let's start with month number 1 in January, spiritual alignment. So futurecast yourself to December 2025. What would you be saying to yourself if this was the best creative year ever and you had spiritual alignment and resilience? Well, you'd probably say something like this. I know God's got me, even when it's hard. I've faced challenges in January, but I found strength through my faith. I've faced setbacks, but I was able to turn them into stepping stones. I have peace knowing that I'm equipped to handle whatever happens next. So once again, imagine that you're in December and you're able to say that because you have followed through with your best creative year ever. Now let's go on to February. Imagine that you've already gone through vision and planning, really focusing on that the entire month. What would you be saying in December? Well, you might say something like this. I have a plan and it finally feels possible. I'm not spinning my wheels or chasing random ideas. I've mapped out a clear step-by-step path to turn my creative dreams into reality. And for the first time ever, I feel focused and excited about the future. Again, imagine that you're saying that about yourself in December 2025. How does that feel? What does it feel like? How would you change those words to fit what you want to feel at the end of your best creative year ever? Let's move on to March. I'd like to keep this moving and have you thinking this out and believing what you're saying. Now, in March, in our community, we're going to be talking about building a community, not an audience. What would you be saying in December? You'd be saying to yourself, people are starting to notice and they care. Now, and you're talking about this means you're no longer shouting into the void. Your community is growing. And you've met people who genuinely resonate with your message. You feel validated and supported. You know that you're not alone in your journey anymore. So again, think about this. in December. How does that feel? What does that mean to you to know that you've had your best creative year ever and you've built a community that supports you and believes in you? Now, April, you can look back in December and you could say, hey, we studied some monetization strategies, some monetization foundations. What would you say to yourself? I would say, I got paid for my work and it feels amazing. That first paycheck from your creative work, or maybe it's not your second or your third or your fifth, but it's the one that really feels like you actually know what you're doing and how to monetize your creative drive, your creative project. You've got determination, you've got pride, you know that you have the right skills and strategies that you can make money doing what you love. And that feels amazing, especially after you've been working on it. Now let's talk about May, time management and focus. You've already talked about this, you've worked on it, so in the end of the year, you could say something like, I'm finally in control of my time. I've been juggling part-time gigs and creative processes and projects and life responsibilities, but that no longer feels overwhelming. I've built a schedule that works for me. I have space for creativity, faith, and family. I can breathe easier knowing that I have balance. Again, imagine that this is you talking to yourself in December. How does it feel? Do you know that that's possible for you? We'll be talking about this all throughout God and Gigs, but I want you to think of it right now. Now let's go on to June. This is when we'll be talking about branding and messaging. If you have your best creative year ever, how would that feel? Well, the phrase you might say is, my brand feels like me and it's working. My social media, my website, my overall message all reflect who I truly am. And when somebody interacts with my work, I know it resonates because it's authentic. If you're thinking like this, you feel proud of representing yourself to the world. You're no longer hiding behind social media metrics and trying to compare yourself to anybody else. You know that you are following through with what really matters, and your brand reflects who you really are. In July, after you've done all of this, you're halfway through the year, and you can look back and say, hey, we also dealt with creative growth and building skill. At the end of the year, you could say, I've reached a new level in my creative craft. I've put in the work and it shows. Whether it's a stronger performance, sharper writing, more polished art, my improvement is undeniable. If you're talking like this, now you really feel like a professional because professionals recognize other professionals. And at the end of the year, you can say other people are recognizing your work as top of the line as well. Let's move on to month number 8 in August. We'll be talking about clarity and calling. If you have your best creative year ever, you're definitely going to be saying something like this. I know this is what I'm meant to do. Now, after years of questioning whether your creativity could truly matter, at this point, you finally connected with your talent and you've connected it with that higher purpose that we talked about back in January. You're waking up with a renewed sense of hope, knowing your work isn't just a hobby, it's a calling. Now, remember, all of this is you future casting where you'll be in December 2025. Now, moving on to September, we're going to be talking about networking and collaboration. But at the end of the year, you could say something like this to yourself because you've had your best creative year ever. I've met people who believe in me. Now, this means through intentional networking all year long, you formed relationships with other creatives and potential collaborators. You no longer feel isolated. You feel energized. You're growing with the people that believe in you, that understand who you're all about. They share your vision and they want to help you to succeed. Take your time. Imagine that's happened already. How does it feel? Where could this take you in your best creative year ever? Now let's move on to October. Month 10 will be advanced monetization strategies. Now, we've already talked about monetization earlier in the year, but now you're getting even more and more savvy with this. So the phrase that you say to yourself in December is, I'm making real money and it's sustainable. Now, as of this point, you've added new income streams. You feel like you've actually made traction. You're not just going from gig to gig or hustle to hustle. For the first time, you're really seeing how your creativity can build financial stability. You're going to feel empowered and knowing that you're building something that will last. Now, at this point, you might say, wow, this is already the best creative year ever, but you're not done. We're still reviewing what happened in 2025. So imagine this. In November, you talked about visibility and promotion. And if you had your best creative year ever, that would mean that people are talking about your work and it's finally reaching the right people. This means that your creative work is being seen and shared and appreciated, whether it's by new clients, you're getting sold out shows, glowing reviews and testimonials. You are feeling the ripple effect of your efforts. You know that your work is making a difference. You know that your work is making an impact. And now you're at the end of the year. You're looking back, you're reflecting, and you're renewing. And you can say to yourself, I did it. I'm ready for the next chapter. You're looking back over the year and you can truly see how far you've come. You have gone from part-time income and uncertainty to clarity, growth, and confidence. You feel proud of what you've achieved and you're excited to keep building on this momentum. You see, if you are at this point and you've gone the entire year and you've had your best creative year ever, now you are moving from uncertainty and confusion into creative confidence. And to be honest with you, the best creative year ever probably isn't measured by just your income. It probably isn't measured by your social media stats. It's going to be measured by your internal compass, knowing that you are headed in the right direction. At this point, you'd be transitioning from dreaming about your creative career to living it. You'd be going from earning less to earning more, from working hard to working smarter, from being kind of wishy-washy about your faith to being rock solid with your faith. Most importantly, you would be believing in yourself and your calling like never before. Well, my friends, as I mentioned, this is the picture of a best creative year ever. But my question to you is, do you want to live this creative year? Do you want to enjoy it? Do you want to experience it? Well, if that's the case, there's two things I highly recommend that you do. One is that you make sure to write these things down. Now, I'm going to see if we can get a resource for you that will help you journal this out for your 12 themes of the best creative year ever. Just check the link in the description and we'll have that for you. But number two is, don't do this alone. Most of us fail in our gifts and our goals and our resolutions because we don't have people next to us who are guiding and encouraging and holding us accountable. But if you have people in your path, your encouragers, you will see yourself at the end of the year celebrating these wins. So what I would suggest is you join a group like God and Gigs 360 that will help you stay accountable. Now, before we go, I want to say thank you to everyone that's been listening and watching throughout 2024. This has been an amazing year for God and Gigs and for me and my family. We've seen God move and do amazing things in these relationships, in the people that we are so gifted and so blessed to have among us. But I am looking forward to 2025 because I see these themes echoing in everything we're doing in God and Gigs. And so I suggest and hope and pray that you'll have an amazing year, but I also suggest that you would keep connected with us so that you can grow with us, learn with us, and continue to increase your income, your impact, and your influence by being a part of this amazing community. So, my friends, that's our creative year. That's your visualization. That's where you can be. So I can't wait to see you there in just 12 short months. So until next time, continue to become the creative that you were created to be. God bless, and I'll see you next year. My friend, thank you for watching this episode. If that blessed you, you got to make sure that you stay connected with this community and this channel so that you can get more where that came from. We're sharing great interviews, tactics, strategies, mindsets, lifestyle choices, everything that's going to help you become a totally confident creative. And don't miss an episode of the God and Gigs Show. If you are staying connected to our channel, you'll be able to find us anytime we release new episodes. And you can check out some of our archives of almost 200 episodes now that we've shared over the last few years. Make sure you check out one of the suggestions right now because it's probably perfect for you to continue to develop as a creative. And continue to stay connected with us because we're here to help you become the creative that God created you to be. We'll see you in the next episode.